You're listening to Ask Dr. Jake. My name is Dr. Jake Tucker. I'm the owner and founder of Good Life Family Chiropractic here on the south side of Lincoln and coming soon with our satellite campus a couple times a month just to start here in Omaha as well. And what we're going to do today is what we do every day, another message of health, hope, and wholeness, because so many of us are dealing with health issues. You look at the United States today, we spend more money on healthcare. We have the best doctors, we have the best facilities, we invest more even in health and wellness products, and yet we are one of the sickest countries in the world. The World Health Organization ranked us 72nd overall when it comes to health, and when you just compare us to the industrialized nations, we are dead last. So all the countries in the world want to do it like we do. They send their best doctors over here to learn how to do it. They go back, Doctors Without Borders. And yet the country that has the best access, the best resources, the best laws in place to protect us, you legally have to get care if you go into an emergency room, regardless of your ability to pay. And yet we're doing so poorly. Some of us just need some hope. We need to start identifying things that can make us healthy. We're sitting in the middle of this coronavirus crisis with, we're trusting in this man-made injection to get us through, and that's not the answer. Nothing, anything that takes us away from God and allows us to be more self-sufficient and put him away is not going to be the answer to this thing. And so today we are celebrating the 8th day of wellness. We've been doing this every single day here in the month of December to help you create this healthy environment. If you want to know what all those other days were, go back to the Facebook page and you'll see those. You see the videos of us. You can go to find this podcast and download those shows wherever you find podcasts. Just look for Ask Dr. Jake. And that's where we're at. You can go to YouTube, my channel, Dr. Jake Tucker. We have these videos posted as well. So I wanted to give you the 8 keys to keeping a healthy immune system today on the 8th day of wellness. But before I get into that, I actually wanted to start with why we talk so much about the immune system as chiropractors. Because so many times people come into my office thinking that chiropractic is just this treatment for neck pain, back pain, or headaches. And I get that, because most people, when they talk about the benefit that chiropractic has had for them, the one that's most relatable is that they feel better. Because in the United States, the thing that we base our health on is feeling. And most of my patients do come to me because they're looking for relief from some pain. But the thing that I have to teach every single patient is that when you just look at the symptoms and you just look at treating those symptoms, even if you look at it naturally, trying to do it and treat it naturally, you're missing the boat just as badly as every other American who's stuck in this symptom management paradigm. I'm not going to call it healthcare, because it's not. It's not providing us health. When all we do is manage symptoms, we end up in a place where we're still dysfunctional, but we feel good and we're not healthy. And that's why our health suffers so badly, because we're not focused on health. We're focused on disease. We're focused on symptom management. Medicine is a study of disease and what makes man sick. Health is the study, or chiropractic is the study of health and what makes man well. And that's what we need to focus on, is studying health. How do we get you healthy? And that comes from understanding the definition of health. It's a state of 100% optimal function and healing. And so when I get in a family like the Murphys, where they've been coming to me for years, but they walked in our doors because of chronic neck and back pain. And so instead of trying to make them feel better, the first thing I did is start to try to identify the cause of the problem. And when I'm trying to identify cause, I begin by looking at the system that controls all the other systems, because if there's interference there's going to be an inability of the body to heal and function in other areas, and that's going to develop those symptoms for them. And so in Mrs. Murphy's neck, she was dealing with chronic neck pain. She had been in an injury during her time in the military, and it had actually buckled her neck backwards. You can see, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook right now, you can see off to my left that there's supposed to be a 45-degree curve in the low back, in the mid back, and then at the top in the neck. And hers was actually buckled going the wrong way about 10 degrees. And that puts a pathological tension on the spinal cord. This was all stuff that the military doctors completely ignored. Even the VA hospital and clinic had completely ignored, in spite of the neurosurgery research that shows if you even lose 50% of that curve, it increases the length, stretching the spinal cord out by as much as 1.5 inches, creating disability, damage, actually killing the cells inside the spinal cord. And I showed her this, and I showed her what was going on, and we laid out a plan to begin to address this. Mr. Murphy, he was a former MMA fighter, and he actually had hurt his low back. But it wasn't just that he hurt his low back; he had created scoliosis in his low back through some of the injuries and improper weightlifting techniques, and working out on the injuries and fighting through some of the injuries. And and these are people that work in public service, people that serve you and I. And so I began to address the cause of these things with both of them, working through the plan to get correction and starting that. And 2 years later, they're still under care, not because their neck still hurts or their back still hurts, but because what they've noticed for them and their family is that they aren't just feeling better, but they don't get sick like they used to. Their immune system functions at a higher level. Yeah, their neck still hurts now and again. We haven't fixed it fully. There's a limitation of matter in some cases. The traumatic injuries that they sustained in jobs like they had were such that, maybe full correction isn't possible in this world, in this body. But we don't know because we're only 2 years in. It took them, 30 years to get to this point in their lives, a decade of which they suffered with debilitating injuries that their bodies adapted to. And 2 years later, where every day they were having pain before, now, they hardly feel it, but maybe once a week or once a month. And they continue to get better, but they've noticed that they don't get sick as often, that their kids are way healthier than other people's kids. And they've begun to have this mindset where they want to focus on prevention instead of just treating symptoms. And that's where I want to take everyone. This is how I address health with my family. That's why when you look back and do a retrospective study of chiropractors' families versus medical doctors' families, chiropractors' families have far less illness, take far less drugs, have far less medical bills. You look at people that get wellness chiropractic care for years and years, they spend 70% less on medications. They go to the doctor 80% less than people who don't get chiropractic care. They go to the emergency room over 90% less. And it's not because they're choosing not to, it's because they don't need to. It's because they're focusing on health and wellness. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. We know that. But if you need to get started with that, whether you're dealing with headaches and neck pain like Mrs. Murphy was, or you're dealing with low back pain with sciatica like Mr. Murphy was, pick up the phone and call our office, 531-289-7100. And what we'll set you up with is a consultation, exam, any necessary x-rays. And if we have time for it that day, we'll bring you back. We'll actually do an adjustment as well. The exam and the x-rays, those would typically cost you thousands of dollars in a medical clinic. We're doing those today for you at our largest available discount of $42. If you need to get an adjustment as well, we're going to give you a 50% discount off of that. So it'd only be $30 in addition. So that would be $72 for your first visit if you're able to get everything, if you require everything. But we'll go through those costs with you as we see exactly what you need, because it always starts with a discussion. From the discussion, we go into a posture examination. Posture is a window into what the spine is doing. If your posture is off, we need to see if it's affecting your motion. If it's affecting your motion, if you have restriction in your motion, that leads to disability. And we see that graded out in the insurance industry. The level of disabilities directly correlates to the loss of motion in the spine. And we see that in neurology. When you're not able to move spinal segments, the brain doesn't get ATP or energy processing the way that it needs to. And so we check the motion. The next thing that we look at is we actually look at the spasms, feeling everything all the way down, feeling for those misalignments, feeling for which direction they're out. And then from there, we identify how that's impacting the nervous system through static surface electromyography, measuring the function of the nerves and comparing that to normal. And if we see that at a severe disability, a severe loss, or a severe irritation, we know within a 95 to 99% rate of confidence that there will be a problem within 5 years in a major organ system if not addressed and taken care of properly. So from there, we take x-rays. The x-rays show us how to get correction, how to take pressure off the nervous system, how to build that plan. The first adjustment while it's not directly part of the exam, it is part of the assessment and seeing how you respond. And that lets us finalize your recommendations. So whether that takes 1 visit or 2 visits, by the 3rd visit, we will be able to sit down with you and your spouse to go through your recommendations to see how we get you well. And they've noticed that. They've noticed that every single patient here, if they apply the laws and principles of health and healing, they get healthier. But without further ado, let's jump into these 8 key ways to make sure that you're keeping your immune system functioning at a high level, staying away from holiday illnesses. So number 1 is actually get enough sleep. You need at least 8 hours of sleep a night. Some of you need less at night. Some of you get some of that during the day, but make sure you're getting that 7 to 9 hours in general. Number 2, exercise daily. Some of you do that through your job. Some of you do that by getting your steps in, but find something that you enjoy. Exercise is a requirement, and we see the immune system function at a higher level in people that exercise than in people that don't. Another reason not to shut down the gyms. Number 3, minimize stress. Stress is a silent killer, but not just because it kills you or creates heart attacks, but also because it reduces the function of the immune system. It puts you in this sympathetic state that suppresses your digestive system, where 80% of your immune system resides. Number 4, eat immune boosting or immune supporting foods. Things like cruciferous vegetables, also known as broccoli and cauliflower. I know that's not everyone's favorite, but nutrient-rich foods, cruciferous vegetables, specifically contain a sulfur-rich compound that really boosts the immune system and keeps it functioning at a high level. And I say boost is not the appropriate word. Supporting is the appropriate word, because you don't boost an immune system. The immune system has full capacity to do whatever it is that God created it to do, which is fight off every illness and sickness ever designed, ever created. But when you lack specific nutrients, it will be suppressed. And so you need to support your immune system by giving it the things that it needs, like cruciferous vegetables. Avoid refined sugars. We covered this on day 3, the 3 things that you absolutely need to avoid. Sugar being number 1. Just a tablespoon of sugar will suppress the immune system for hours. And most of us consume over almost a pound of sugar a day, 2/3 pound of sugar a day on average. 267 pounds of sugar in a year is consumed by the average American. It's ridiculous, and it's suppressing our immune system. Number 5, take care of your gut. Absolutely. If you need help in how to take care of your gut, go to some of my videos, go to some of my classes. I talk about leaky gut, how that's created, how to heal from that. We have protocols for that in the office. We can help you with that. Maintain a healthy weight. Obesity is the number 1 risk factor for the coronavirus infection and mortality rates. If you are obese, start taking care of that. Don't hide. You start taking care of that. Reduce your risk. Number 6, take immune supporting supplements, including zinc, vitamin C, and vitamin D3, and then read more about that in the 6 ways to reduce the effects of viruses and strengthen your immune system on the website. You can go to maxliving.com or goodlifefamilychiropractic.com and look at our articles, and you can search for that 6 ways to reduce the effects of viruses and strengthen your immune system. I'm Dr. Jake. Join me again for another episode of Ask Dr. Jake every weekday here on